Hello everyone, welcome back. I hope you all have installed Docker, and you have also learned basic about Docker in our last class. I'll give a quick summary why we need to go for Docker. Uh, the first problem is normally when we are developing the scripts in a real time, our script might work yesterday but might not work today because maybe in the background our company's Chrome machine would have updated, so you will not be even aware that your Chrome version got updated from 95 to 96, because all these Chrome versions will be maintained by your company, right? So security team will take care of all this. They will check the security patches before updating to the latest version. So yeah, so you will not know whether your script might be working in your machine, might not work in your colleagues or your different client machine, because they might be using different Chrome driver version or different Chrome version, or they might try to run it on different browser versions that you have not tested. So these are all things that commonly occur. Apart from that, you also have a requirement that you want to do a browser compatibility test for your application, right? So you want to test your application on different versions of Chrome, different versions of Firefox as well. So this is not possible without spending a lot of cost to your cloud providers like browser stack, right? And most importantly, if you try to run your test in parallel, let's say I have only 4 GB of RAM, I cannot run my test in parallel, right? Maybe I can run 2 to 3 tests in parallel, but if I want to run 10 tests in parallel, I cannot do it because my local configuration is very less. So in all these things, okay, your Docker is the answer for all these questions. So if you have any of these problems, Docker can resolve. So I hope let's not consider the first problem, second problem, maybe the fifth problem as well. But anyways, we will definitely have these 3 and 4 problems. Okay, so to test this, definitely we can use Docker, and this is more reliable, guys. Believe me. Okay, this is more reliable than running your test in the local machine. And most importantly, if you run your test in your local machine, let's say it's running for 1 hour, you cannot do anything in your machine, right? If you want to check your emails, you want to do some other manual test, you cannot do it. So the only solution for all these problems is this Docker, right? And we have, so yesterday I spoke about visualization and containerization. So virtualization, you all might be aware. So we might be using softwares like VMware, stuff like that, and we create a machine inside our. Let's say this is your laptop. Okay, this is your laptop. It can be your laptop or physical bare metal server or any of the cloud machine as well, right? So for example, we don't consider these two. We will only consider that you have a laptop, and by default, your laptop will have a hypervisor. Okay, with the help of this hypervisor and some virtualization software, you can build VMs. Okay, let's say this is your you have a Windows laptop, you can build a Mac VM. Okay, and then you can also build a Linux VM running on Ubuntu. So virtualization is a process of importing a guest OS. Okay, we are importing a new OS itself on top of your machine, right? So you can basically use two different OSs in a same machine, right? That's using virtualization software and hypervisor. You can do this, right? But this is a little difficult process. Okay, so you have to spend a lot of time in setting up the images and all that. It may take a lot of time for you to set up. And one important thing is, if you have 4 GB of RAM, you cannot do it because your virtualization software will take some space, right? And then the guest OS will take some space and memory and all that. So running a virtualization needs bigger machines and all that. But the advantages are, like, you don't have to have different machines. Everything will be handled with the virtualization software itself, right? uh, Again, virtualization, we have a lot of disadvantages. Again, we cannot, if you run like virtual machines in your machine, it will lead to oversubscription. You may run out of memory and all that. Again, boot up process is long and it takes time, right? So because of the guest OS is running, so it will also take a lot of time, so of a lot of space. For example, if you're running a Windows VM on top of a Mac, okay, what happens? The Windows VM itself, Windows, if you want to install Windows OS, it will occupy a lot of space, right? So almost some, let's say 1 GB or 2 GB is taken to it, right? So again, those kind of memories are wasted. But containerization is very smart, guys. So it's a method of operating system virtualization. Let's say this is your infrastructure, right? You have your own laptop. Okay, on top of it, you have your own operating system. I have Windows in my machine, you may have Linux or Mac, that doesn't matter. But on top of it, we have installed a container engine. So that is your Docker. We have installed Docker, right? This will act like a container engine. So it will manage all our containers. Okay, there are a lot of container engines like Rocket, RKT, or Docker. But Docker is very famous. So for this, tutorial, we want to only see about Docker. Okay, so we have infrastructure ready. We have OS also installed in our laptop. That is also ready. We also install Docker. That is also ready. But we need to know what is this green, orange, and red, right? So this is containers, guys. So we want to install this containers now to run our test. Okay, we want to install this as a Chrome, this is a Firefox, maybe this is a Edge, so that we can run our test on these things. Okay, so we are going to install these containers. Okay, so yeah, so advantages of containerization is, let's say, see here we are not having any guest OS. In the previous diagram, if you notice, there is guest OS which will occupy space and memory. But in this case, it will not occupy any, it has no OS. It just has some basic Linux kernels, okay, some basic Linux tools. So it doesn't occupy a lot of space. Only the certain libs and bins required to run your containers are there. But apart from that, there is no OS. So there is no, not a lot of memory consumed into it. Okay, so advantages is it's very very quick to start. We are going to create a new container within a minute. Okay, it's not even take a minute. Okay, so there is no guest OS. It will only share very level 1 libraries and resources, and it is very lightweight, and it is faster, very faster than your virtual machines. Okay, so this is a comparison. Maybe you can imagine, like we are renting a room. Renting a room is like your virtualization. It takes a lot of time. You need to go sign the agreement. You need to give pay advance. You need to check whether the water supply is properly there, whether the house is really newly built, whether it is semi-furnished or furnished, and all that. Lot of really you need to do a lot of checkups, right? You need to buy new things and all. That's what the guest OS is, right? You need to take your furnitures. You are shifting your new home, right? You need to take your own furnitures to there, right? So this is what it takes a lot of efforts, right? But containerization, on the other hand, it's like renting a PG. It's renting a PG or an Airbnb, right? If you are from outside India, you might have known about Airbnb. You don't have to do anything, so it's very easy to rent a PG or rent a room in Airbnb, right? So it's as simple as that. So how easy to use Docker in test automation? So Amudan, you spoke a lot, but we don't understand anything. That's absolutely fine. It's very, very easy to use Docker. So even if you don't understand some or most part of it, that doesn't really matter. We will again revise at the later point of time while developing the framework, this Docker. But for now, I just want to show you guys how easy to run the frame. Okay, run the test in this Docker containers. Okay, so before that, I want to show you only one thing. That is, yeah, this particular analogy. So in real world, right? If you want to use some software, what do? You have a software, you install it, and you will run it. For example, you want to use Chrome browser. What do? You download the Chrome from your Windows Store, and then you install it, and then you run the application, right? That's what we do. But in case of Docker world, so let's take, this is a software world, this is a real world. Now we are getting into Docker world, right? In Docker world, we will have softwares in form of images. Okay, so you pull these images, you run them, it becomes a containers. That's what we showed in the image, right? So it's like you are downloading a software and running it. The same way, you are pulling an image and then you're running it, so it becomes a container. Okay, in real world, we store all our code in a GitHub, but in Docker world, all these images are stored in Docker Hub. Okay, so enough of understanding, but I hope you all can understand this very simple analogy. In software world, we install a software and run it. Here we pull an image, it becomes and we run it, it becomes a container. Okay, so let's get into action, right? So we are speaking for a very long time. Let's try to run a simple test in our in a Docker container, Chrome container. Okay, so guys, I hope you all have installed Docker. So this time you would see all these messages. Okay, now when I type Docker ps, okay, this will list me all the containers in the running state. Okay, for now, I don't have any container now, so let me clear it. I will again run the command. So if you notice, I don't have any containers running now. Even if you run this command, there is no containers. For example, let's go to the old image that we had. So we have only the container engine now. There is no green, the orange and red ones. So there is no containers up and running. Okay. Now we can start our container. Our ultimate aim is to run the test in a Docker container. So we can go to Docker Hub. So we can go to Docker Hub. Okay, this is a place where all the software, like, imagine this is like your Play Store or your App Store for Mac or your Windows Store for your Windows, right? So we have all these softwares installed here. So you can create an account for you here if you have not signed up yet. Okay, so if you want to download any of these, let's say if you want to download any of the softwares from Play Store, you log in, right? The same way you sign up here. But I already have an account with me, so I'll do a login. Okay, you, and the password, I don't know what type password I gave. So once you create an account and then you log in into the Docker Hub, you can see a lot of things. But for now, we want to execute our test in Chrome. So we need a Chrome software, right? Chrome image. So we're going to download the Chrome image. But if you notice, there are a lot of Chrome images. Okay, there are a lot of Chrome images. Let's say all these are Chrome softwares. So if you go and download, try to download some movie in some torrent, you will get lot of download now buttons. You don't know which one you need to download. So it's a problem, right? So but we want something from Selenium guys, right? So we want something from the Selenium guys. So we'll say Selenium Chrome. Okay, and then it is still not coming. Maybe we'll give the exact name itself. So we'll give Selenium standalone Chrome. So here, if you notice, whatever you mentioned before the slash is the author, okay, who created this, and we want a Chrome image. Okay, so this is the particular image that we are looking for. So if you click on this, okay, so this guy is this particular software or the image is developed by Selenium. So if you notice, their official GitHub link is also provided here, and we also have different versions. Suppose you want to work with 96 version of Chrome, you can download this. You want to download different versions, you can use different tag. Okay, there might be different tags available, 95, 94 and all that. So you might pull whatever you want. Okay, there might be a lot of versions. And then there is something called as latest, which means this might be the latest uh, tagged image. Okay, latest is just a version, guys. Okay, they may also store uh, Chrome 50. It might be the oldest version, but they can name it as latest. Okay, imagine you have someone called as uh, Arivalagan. So in Tamil, we someone who have good brain, and then he's knowledgeable, and then he's also beautiful. But he might not be really the case. The same way, if the name is latest, doesn't mean it is the latest version. It may be oldest version as well. But latest most probably is related to your most stable version of your thing. Okay, but in our example, we're going to use 96. Okay, okay, now we want to start this container. Okay, when you want to start this container, you need to write very simple code. Okay, very simple command. So for example, if you want to pull this into your machine, okay, if you want to download this software, okay, they are telling use this command. Okay, let's copy this. I want to pull this, as I mentioned, guys. Okay, we want to download this, right? So we want to download this image. Okay, we want to pull this image. So for that, they are giving this particular command. So let's copy this, go to the command prompt, enter this. So now we are trying to pull this particular image into our machine, which means we are trying to download that software into our machine. So let's say okay. So in my case, it's already there, so it might not take a lot of time. Okay, okay, it's actually taking, it is actually downloading something. So it may take I don't know, I might have already this, maybe I have a different version, I don't know. But yeah, let it download. But in the meantime, in your case also, it will take a lot of time to download. Maybe this is a little heavy, like 445 MB. So yeah, so give some time for it to download. Yeah, I'll also open another Chrome terminal. So here I'll tell Docker images. So which means it'll list me what are all the softwares I have in my machine. So for example, I have Selenoid, VNC, Chrome, Maven, Dependency, Amazon QA, some Swagger API, some other things already have. But if you notice, I also have Selenium standalone hyphen Chrome already. But maybe they have given some updates or something like that. So it is downloading some, again. Okay, so maybe some few updates they are doing. Okay, so yeah, let it do anyways. So I have it already, the 96 version, but still it is downloading. But let's do it. So once this is done, what we are going to do is we are going to run our test in the particular stuff, right? So for that, we will first make the code ready. Okay, let's go to the stuff. I'll create a new class, Docker test, and you can create a, you know, main method, or you can create a test method, whatever you feel comfortable. I'm creating a test method now. And so we have few code already written, right? Let's say take this code. Let's copy this code, and then we'll put it here. This we have already seen, right? So we don't need this at all anymore. So maybe I'll just load this page. I'll get the title, maybe get title, and then I'll do title printout. Okay, this is a very simple test, right? Let's first run it in our local machine and see everything is working fine. So it's launching the browser. So it's loading the URL. It will print the title. That's it, right? Very simple test. And then we also want to close the browser. So we will do driver.quit. Okay, good. Very simple test. But what we are going to do is we are going to run this now in Docker containers. Okay. For that, you just need to do very small changes. Okay. All this code below this will remain the same. Okay. There is no change here. Only the setup part is getting changed. Okay. You don't need to do any of the WebDriver manager setup because it comes bundled with executables, Chrome browser. Everything will be there in the image itself. Whatever the image we are downloading here, we have downloaded here, you will have all these things inbuilt. So you don't have to really do WebDriver manager, all this thing. These are all things not needed. Okay. And then, so we don't need that. So what we need, we just need only one statement now. WebDriver driver. We're not creating Chrome directly. So we are actually trying to do a remote execution. See, whatever you are running in your local, we can do this. If you're running remotely, you need to create an object for remote WebDriver. Okay. And this remote WebDriver constructor accepts two parameters. One is in which URL you want to run this, and then what is the desired capabilities. Okay, if you notice, you want to pass the URL, the remote address, and then the capabilities. Okay, so let it be there. So for now, I'll just give something like this. Okay, it might throw you some exception. Okay, it's fine. And we want to pass the desired capabilities. This desired capabilities decides which browser you want to run, or which is the other capabilities you want to pass. So I'm just telling desired capabilities equal to new desired capabilities. Okay, we used Chrome options, right? The same way, capabilities is another class where you can define which browser you want to run. So I need to tell the browser name as Chrome. So we are going to run it on Chrome browser, right? Even remotely also we are going to run it on Chrome browser. Okay, good. So we don't need this also as well. So we also commented. So that's it, guys. So that's the changes you have to do. Once you create this capabilities, you put it here. Okay, that's it. So it's very easy to run your test in Docker, when compared to running your test in local. So I didn't made a lot of changes. I commented 2 code, I added 3 code, right? 3 lines of code. So now this helps us to, so this particular statement helps us to identify we want to run our test on Chrome browser, and we want to run it remotely, and we need to tell which URL this is present. Okay, so now there is only one thing that we need to do. So we are going to run the container, and then we need to tell exactly which URL this particular thing is pointed to. So let's go there. So now we have all these softwares, so all these images, right? We are interested in trying to run this. Okay, if you don't know the command and all, you can go to Docker Selenium GitHub. Okay, you can just click on this, and if you go down, okay, so they have clearly given instructions. Okay, start, if you want to run your test on Firefox, you just run this command. That's it. Okay, and then you point your test to this particular URL. So we will copy this URL and we'll put it here. Okay, that's it. Okay, and then whatever they are telling, see, this is optional. If you want to see what is happening inside the container, you can open this port and then you can see what is happening here. Okay, and that's all, guys. Very, very simple. And yeah, if you want to run it on Chrome, we want to run it on Chrome, you can just execute this particular command. Okay, that's what we want to do, right? So we want to run our test on this particular Chrome, but they are using different version. We are going to use 96.0, right? So they are using some different version, so we don't have to worry about it. We can run our own test. Okay, let's go there and let's try to uh, start the container. So we have an image. Okay, if we run this image, it becomes a container. So very simple command, docker run. So we want to run which image we want to run. We want to run which image? Selenium slash standalone Chrome, right? We want to run this particular image, hyphen Chrome colon 96.0. So Selenium is the author, Selenium standalone Chrome is the image name, and then 96 is the version. Okay, and then we want to do something. We want to do port mapping, hyphen P 4444 colon 4444. I'll tell you what it is. Hyphen P 7900 colon 7900. What is this? This particular thing I will tell you. Okay, so we are trying to run an image and this is a port mapping, guys. Okay, let's open a paint. I'll tell you what exactly it is. So we have a laptop here. Okay, we have our laptop here. Maybe I'll put it a little big. So this is our machine, right? This is your machine laptop. Inside this, we are going to run a container. Okay, we are going to run a Selenium standalone container. Okay, this is a container, Chrome container. Okay, this is Chrome container. Okay, this by default exposes 4444 port. Okay, so whatever the, if you want to use this container, okay, this guy have way. Okay, 4444 is the port it exposed. Okay, that's how they have developed this. Hey, if you want to use me, use this port to interact with me. That's what they told. They also exposed one more port. Okay, 7900. Okay, 7900. Okay, so if you want to interact with, if you want to send your test to me, send it via this port. If you want to see what is happening inside me, interact with me with this 7900 port. Okay, now that's fine, but we are in our machine. Okay, we need to connect to this port. Okay, so that's for that reason we are doing a port mapping. So from our laptop port, our laptop is also having a port. Okay, 4444. So we are trying to link this particular 4444 to this particular 4444. So whatever the test we are delegating to this particular port will be navigated or relegated to this particular port. Okay, and then if you want to also see the live execution, you can also map this particular 7900 port to your laptop port 7900. That you can, okay, you can change this port. Suppose you want to run this on 44445, you can do it. Okay, 7901 you can do it, but why do we want to? So if it is somewhat occupied, if any of the port is occupied, you can also map it to another port. Okay, but in our case we will map it to the same ports, 4444 from your laptop to, you are mapping this to the 4444 of the container. Okay, same way if you want to see the live execution, they have given a provision that they have exposed 7900. We are going to map it to our local port 7900. Okay, very, very simple, guys. So now in our code, we have just mentioned that. So whatever I have, whatever the my machine address, my machine IP address, I'm just delegating all my test, whatever the test I'm going to run that is below this is delegated to 4444. Okay. Now we are going to run this command. Okay. So this 4444 is your local laptop port. This 4444 is your container port. So this getting mapped, whatever you send here will be gone here. The same way, the if you want to see the live execution, whatever is here, you watch here, it will be only displaying you this particular what is happening inside the container. Okay. So now if you notice, there is a lot of logs that came, and this is container is up and running now. Okay. If you go open the local host 4444 port. So see, guys, now when I open this, it is actually giving me some UI. So it is telling there is one Chrome browser here, which is of name this and version as 96 and Linux platform, and VNC also is enabled. Okay. And also we mapped one more port, right? Local host 7900, correct? And so I want to connect to this and to see the live execution. Okay, it is asking for password. I don't know what is the password. Let's go and see whether they have given some password. So they have given, if you are trying to connect to 7900, use this password secret. Okay. Okay, your secret is basically secret. Okay. Okay, now we have this everything ready. Okay, if I try to run this test now, it will still produce the output, but the test will not run in my local machine. It will run inside the Docker container. Let's try to run it. So guys, notice there is something running. Okay, see, it has even printed orange HRM, right? So it has printed the title, but we didn't see the test. Okay, but let's try to run it again, and let's go there and then see the live execution. Okay. Okay, sorry. Secret. So you guys notice a browser is opening here. So it is doing very fastly. So maybe we will wait for some time. Okay, I'll put thread.sleep for maybe 7 seconds. Okay, and then I'll try to run it again so that we can see the execution more clearly. So now your test will be running on the container, not on your local machine. So you can do all your work, okay, without even worrying about anything. So if you notice, it has navigated to this page. It is waiting, okay, before it is closing, right? It waited for 7 seconds before closing. So your test is getting executed. You could see the live recording. Everything is happening, and it is not consuming you any of your local resources. Okay, everything is happening inside Docker container. Okay. So any doubts in this so far, guys? Any doubt?
How to know our port number is 444?
Okay. So while running the command, right? While running the command, what we did 4444, right?
Yes,
This is our port. Okay.
by default.
No, you can also change this port. Let's stop this container. Okay. What I do, I will basically go here. So so we have now one container up and running, right? So if I tell Docker PS, it will list me all the containers. So which means, if you notice, there is a container ID of this using this Chrome image. This is the entry point. We will ignore that. So it was running for the last 3 minutes. A port is mapped from 4444 to the. This is your local host. 0.0.0.0 means it's your local host. Okay. This particular port is mapped to the container port. Okay. Via this TCP protocol, and then you also have mapped 700 of your local port to the container port 7900, and then they also have exposed 5900. I don't know why they have exposed this, but yeah, also this is the name of the container. So if you don't name your container, it will by default a name with some random name. Now distractor kill dish, it has given some name. I don't want this. I want to remove this now. Okay, that's it. Docker stop. You can give either the name of the container or the ID of the container. Okay, so ID of the container is 64AD. Okay, you can just give 3 or 4 characters, whatever you feel comfortable, or you can also give the full name. But as long as the Docker is able to identify this container uniquely, there is no problem. I'm just giving Docker stop 64A. If it's printing you back the 64A, then it is stopped now. Okay, now if I type Docker PS, there is nothing here. Okay, but if I type Docker PS -a, then this -a indicates, even list me all the containers in the stopped state. Now the container is stopped but not removed. Okay, it's not thrown away. Okay, it is still there. If you want, you can restart it. Okay, if you want, you can again start the container. Okay, Docker start and then 64A. You can also do that. Okay, you can, if you stop it, you can restart it. Okay, now if I again put docker ps, it'll ping me, this container is up and running. So starting a container, stopping a container is very, very simple. So now again want to stop it. Okay, I'll stop it. But this time I want to stop it and then I want to remove it. I don't need it at all. Okay. Containers are like your one time use classes. Okay. You use it and then you can throw it. Okay. So now I'm going to remove it. Docker rm64a. That's it. If you want to stop it, use stop command. If you want to remove it, use rm command. That's it. So now this is removed. So even if you type docker ps-a, it won't be listing you anything. Let me clear all these things. So let me again create the same thing. Okay, docker. I'll close all this shell. I have only one docker. Okay, run. I want to run, right? So maybe I'll list down all the images. So we want to run this particular image, right? Docker run. And what is the name of the image? Selenium slash standalone hyphen chrome and colon 96.0. Okay. Before that, we want to do the port mapping. So we have hyphen p. This time we are not using 4444. This time I'm mapping my local port 4445 to the 4444. Okay. Your right hand side should be always the same because that's how the Selenium Chrome image developers have done it. They have only exposed this port. Okay. In the local machine, you can map it to any port. Okay. So again, I also want to map one more mapping. This time 7901. I'm mapping it to 7900. Okay. Okay. This time I want to run it. Right. Let's click on it. Again, this is started. Everything is fine. But if you go here, if you reload this, you won't find anything because we have this time mapped to 4445. So now everything is running in 4445. In the VNC also, you have to actually go to 7901. You can connect and then enter secret. Okay. Now we have mapped to a different port. This time, if you run your test to 4444, it won't work because our Dockerized grid is actually running in 4445. Okay. So let me try to run it and see if it's running. Hey, I could not reach any browser there. Unreachable browser. Are you still pointing to the right URL? No, actually I'm making a mistake. So I'll point it to the right URL now. Now let me run it. Okay. Now the test will run. If you go over here, you can see the execution. Okay. So you can map it to any port, any available free ports in your local machine. Okay. So, but use the convention. So if they have exposed to 4444, you also expose 4444. Okay. So that's why everyone can understand. Okay. Easily. So EVNC also you can use map it to 7900. Okay. Yeah. Any other question?
The Chrome version, but then
Mhm.
so if we need to run the next another version, then we need to
Pull
download the
another Chrome image. Okay. So you need to pull another Chrome image if you want to run it on different version. For now, we have only one, that is 96. But if you want to run it on 95, you can pull the 95. Instead of colon 96, you have to just mention colon 95.0. Okay. Got it?
Yeah, yes.
Yeah. So we will see more on this. Okay. I just want to cover this on a nutshell. We have not completed it. Okay. We will again touch base this once we develop the framework. We will do multi-browser parallel testing. We will set up a grid itself with a lot of browsers in it. Okay. Just by adding the browser version itself, you can distinguish them. Okay. So we haven't done it completely. We haven't created the Docker ecosystem completely. This is just for basics. Okay. Why I have given this? Okay, I have covered this in a nutshell to throw some light. Okay, in the meantime, in the next 2 weeks, while we develop the framework, you might also have a chance to dig deeper into Docker. You can learn more about the Docker. I have a separate playlist on Docker in my YouTube channel. You can go ahead and watch them. So you have a lot of time to explore on Docker. Again, we will come back and we will revisit the Docker. We'll try to set up the whole Docker ecosystem, and then we will again discuss. Good. Now, without wasting much time, we will get into the framework development, which we are waiting for a long period of time, right? So let me create a new project, and okay, I'm using Java 11. You can also use Java 11, or you can also use Java 8, and then we'll go next. And this is Selenium framework. Okay, this is the project that we are going to create, and let me click on finish. So I want to open it in a new window so that I can copy paste some dependencies. So so now we have created the project, guys. First step, we want to add the dependencies. Can anybody tell me what are the different dependencies we need?
Selenium, test
Okay,
engine.
so we need Selenium, right? So we will basically loot from here. So let's go here, and yeah. So first we need. So let me copy this. Maybe I'll copy the whole thing. Maybe you can explain me why we are using that. Okay, that will be more easy. So I'll copy. I have copied all this. Okay. So can you tell me? You all know that we use Selenium for doing the web application testing. Why we are using this, Vasu?
Browser
For the browser
driver
management.
executables.
Yes, browser and
Sometimes
executables management. Yes, this one.
better reporting purpose.
Very good. Why we use this?
We are without using the main method. We are using the test engine framework.
Yeah, TestNG. We are leveraging TestNG's features like data provider. We're going to use, if you want to use listeners, these are all coming from TestNG. Apart from that, the TestNG also has assertion libraries that we're going to leverage into our framework, right? And why we are using this?
Excel to fetch the data from Excel file.
Okay, why we are using this?
Instead of properties.
Property class, we can use one or two, easily map them to a Pojo, and then we can directly use it in our code, right?
Right.
Very good. So we are going to use all these dependencies. If we want anything else, we will add it whenever we need it. Okay. Now let's go to the SRC folder. That's where we are going to create all our tests. But if you notice, we have main and test. As I already mentioned, test folder is where we keep all our test cases, right? Developers will keep all their unit tests in the test folder. Okay. And they will keep all the code that they need to create the application. Okay. Whatever they want to ship it to production, they keep it in the main folder. But when automation testers started to use this Maven and all that, we most of the people in the world use the test folder to write their test cases, right? Whatever our actual test, we'll keep it here. Anything that is apart from the test cases, we'll keep it inside main method. Okay, that's the main folder. Okay, that's what we're going to do. So all the test related stuff will be here. All the main folder will have everything except the test. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. Now inside the test Java, we will create a package so that we can able to club them together. So I'm going to create a package called com.test maybe, and then maybe we will start with a small test, that is login test. Okay. So basically I have created a package and then I have created a class. Okay. It's not like you have to right click, you need to create a package and then create a class. While creating a class in IntelliJ, if you give com.test, it can understand these are all packages. Okay. And most importantly, in real-time world, we will not just tell com.test, we will also give company name. Okay. For example, let's go and refactor this to tell maybe my company name is, let's say, testing mini bytes, so I will name it as com.tnb. But in real world, maybe you will give com.tcs or com.cts, whatever, so that people can understand. Okay, what is the project that you are working for. You can give your company name, maybe the project name. That is more unique. Okay, you can give it here. Okay, where I learned all these things. Okay, I have learned it from external libraries. So if you go to any external library, okay, you can basically see they would have done that. Okay, maybe after adding the palm.xml, I haven't clicked on reload maven. So once you do the reload maven, it will add all the external dependencies. Now it is added. So now if you go to even com.eventstack.extend reports, So why they have named it as Avonstock extend reports, right? Because that's a unique name, right? So if you notice com.avonstock.extend reports, so that's the package name. So they have given the package name more uniquely. That's what we are also doing. So everything is in small letters, and we are also having the unique name in between, right? And also we're gonna hold a lot of tests here. So we have added test into the package name itself, right? So all these things, is a convention followed across the industry. So anyone can understand what is this TMB is all about. Okay, maybe they may not know what is TMB, like testing mini bytes, but if you give CTS, they can understand its cognition technology, right? Good. Now we are going to create a very simple test. As I mentioned, we'll be using test-ng, so we'll create a test method, and this is a login test, right? And yeah, very simple. Now in the login test, we can also give description, okay, to check whether, so we have already covered this. So I may go a little fast. So if you feel that you didn't understand any of these, please stop me and let me know, okay, to check whether the user can log into Orange HRM, okay, Orange HRM site, Orange HRM website, whatever, okay, whatever the name you want to give, you can give it here. Good. And then we have already a lot of code written, so I will not write the same code again and again. So we'll go and copy paste some code. So maybe we'll copy it from here. So maybe we will also copy this. Okay. And yeah, so just import all these classes. Okay. So instead of going and importing all these things manually, you can just press Control Shift and O. So it will basically import it for you, but it's not importing. Yeah. Okay. So this will throw some checked exception. I will throw it. Now everything looks fine. This is how we have created the test. But what is the problem with this test, guys? Three things you keep in mind while developing the framework. One is framework is all about. So we know all the concepts now. Now only thing we need to do is keep right things at right place. Okay. Right things at right place. Okay, it's like you are decorating your home. You need to keep kitchen related stuff in the kitchen, whatever the study related stuff in your study room and all that, right? So we're going to do that exactly here. And we will not do hard coding. Okay, we will not do any hard coding. Okay, we will not do any hard coding. And then most importantly, we will uh, try to keep things simple. Okay, try to keep things simple. Okay, that's very important, right? So we'll follow some of these rules. Okay. For example, if you notice, we have hard coded the implicit wait as 10 seconds here. Okay, so that's something we have hard coded here. Okay, tomorrow, if someone wants to change the implicit wait timing, they need to come and change it here. That is not a really good practice, right? Because if you have thousands of files, someone coming and changing it here exactly here will take a lot of time. Okay, it is a lot of efforts. So we should not hard code anything here. Okay, maybe we can put it in a property file and then we can use it here. If you notice, we have hard coded the URL. Tomorrow, if you want to change this to dev environment, today you want to run it in dev 1, tomorrow is just dev 2. How will you do it? So you cannot do it, right? So you have to come, if there are 1,000 test cases you have created, then you have to go and change in 1,000 places. That's not really something that's a good, right? So we should not hard code all these things. Okay, these things have to be coming from some external files. Maybe you can use a property file, maybe you can use a constant class, right? That's what we're going to do. So we are going to keep things in the right places. First one, as I mentioned, this thing is basically hard coded. We should avoid where we can keep this implicit wait. Okay, so we can create a property file and then we can maintain the URL there, so that if something is happening in the if you want to change the URL, we can change it in the property file, right? So let's create a property file. But where I should create the property file? You cannot create in the project folder itself. Maybe while practicing we have done that, but property files are meant to be inside resources folder. Okay, but there is no resources folder here. So inside the test, I'll create a new resources. Okay, I'll create a new directory with the name of resources. Okay, now you can keep all the stuff that you need to run your test here. Okay, resources are basically supplements to your test. Whatever you need to run your test, you can keep it here. Okay, If you want something in real time world, developers use main resources, because for running their application in the production system, they use resources, main resources, right? But here we are only having test. They will keep all the stuff that they need to run their unit tests inside SRC test resources. Whatever they use for unit test, we are going to use it for our Selenium test. Okay, so we are going to create a property file here, but let me create a property file. Okay, but if you directly create a property file tomorrow, you might also want to add some Excel sheet here. Okay, at the time it might look clumsy. So what I can do, I can group them together with a directory. So I'll create a folder here, named let's say properties. Okay, property or config file, whatever. So maybe I'll name it as config. Okay, so there is a folder called config. Inside that you can create the file. Okay, that is config.properties. Now we are grouping things together. Okay, it is more generic, right? So inside, if resources folder, someone goes inside this, okay, they may understand, okay, these guys have kept something in related to configuration in this folder. Okay, tomorrow if you want to create one more folder, let's say you want to create a test data Excel sheet, so you can have a test data folder or data folder. Okay, and then you can have the file inside that, the Excel sheet inside this. Okay, so now we are grouping things so that it becomes more easy. Again, guys, framework is all about keeping right thing in right place. Okay, I use what most people in the world use, but some people would have created the configured properties in the root folder itself. That's not wrong, that's not really wrong, but this is a really good convention. This is how a good developers code. Okay, we are going to do that. So we have created the property files. Now let me create a timeouts equal to 10. Maybe this is a timeout, right? So timeout equal to 10. And what else we have? We have the URL. So this URL has to be basically this, right? Just copy this and it put it here. Okay, now if you want to use property files, if you want to read from property files, what you need to do, you need to create a corresponding interface, mapping interface, right? We already learned about owner library. So you can go here, you can create a new class, but in this class package name is com.tmb is the package name. And what is this? This is a config related stuff, right? We're going to create a owner mapping here. So we can, sorry, basically this is not a class. I'll delete it. The name is basically refactor. Not, maybe I'll delete it. I'll create it again. So I'll create a package com.tmb.config. Okay, create a class here, that is framework config, right? So framework config, and this is an interface, right? Guys, we have already seen this, so I'm not explaining this. If you want to use, you can extend this config coming from your aeon bits.order. Okay, and then for every values here you need to map it. Okay, you need to map. So this is your this timeout, you want it as a integer or long or which type you want. Okay, if you go here, implicit wait is basically taking the time in long. Okay, the time in long. Okay, it's not an integer, it's a long type. Okay, so what you can do, you can go here, you can directly map it to long type. Okay, long type of timeout. Okay, good. And then we also have a string of URL, right? So we have string URL of string. Okay, so this will be mapped to this, right? Good. And let's go to this. And if you also notice, we have added this. So let's remove this. But if you want to use this, you need a framework config stuff, right? So you need to create something like uh, config factory dot create. For what class? This is framework config dot class. I want to create a reference variable. As we have just learned this. Okay, so I hope you all understand how this works. So instead of this 10 hard coding, we are telling config dot timeout. Instead of this URL here, we are just telling config dot URL. Config dot URL. Now this is not hard coded, right? And also, if you notice, there are a lot of things here. Okay, we want to keep our test very simple, and we are opening the browser here. which can be moved to before method. We are also doing this here, which is should not be the ideal case. We need to keep it in before suite or some place where we can directly use it. So we will see all that thing maybe tomorrow, and then yeah, we will slowly progress with the framework development. But make sure you are confident with all the topics we have covered so far. So I'm not going to explain how to read from Excel again, because that's already covered. How to integrate Excel with data provider, I'm not going to explain again, it is already covered. So we're going to go a little fast. So if you have any doubts, you can stop me and ask me now. You can ask your doubts if you have anything.
The framework config, go to framework config.
Okay,
Just I have seen. These are abstract methods, no?
yeah, these are
Okay.
all something like abstract methods.
Okay.
This the you know the skeleton looks like abstract methods, right? So but basically they will internally, the owner or library creator, right, the owner library creator, what he has done, if you do this mapping, he has internally written some code that maps your timeout, the whatever the value that you have will be mapped to this particular thing, this timeout. Whenever you call this method, it will return you the value of this. Okay, so he has written a lot of code inside that. That's why we are extending this config class. Okay, so if you go to this config class, he has written a lot of code. Okay, so you don't have to really worry about it. We are now not even worrying about it. Okay, but yeah,
Okay. Thank you.
but we have missed one thing, that is we need to tell which file we want. So this is sources. The day we have mentioned the file name, right? So we will copy it from there. Mm, student owner, the day we have written some code, right? So owner test. Okay, anyways, we have given something like file value equal to file colon, and then we have given user.dir, right? This is for fetching your current directory. And then we also need to tell slash src slash test slash resources slash config is the folder. Inside the config folder, we have config.properties. Okay, and why this is still not working? Maybe I need to remove this. Yeah, so this is now good, right? So now this will be mapped properly. Okay, let's try to run it and then check whether this is launching. So, oh, my ID got crashed. Something is happening. So there is a null pointer exception at 25th line. Okay, maybe there is some problem with the mapping that we have done. Okay, but yeah, you can fix it by seeing the old videos. Okay, this is right, correct. It should work. Yeah, this is now working, right? So we haven't written any code after that, so we will do it. Okay, so for now this is more than enough. We have removed some hard coding here, right? Now we have the tendency now to move this to right places, that we will do it from tomorrow class. I'll stop the recording here.